Okay.
Do the statement.
You want to do opening statement?
They got it. They got it.
Santi got it.
All right. Santiago, what is kind of the significance of winning a tournament like this, especially when you didn't have one of your key players in the equation and you're playing, a nationally ranked top 5 team to end it? What was your takeaway from this week?
I think the main takeaway from the whole week was mainly stay together through tough times. That's what you got to do. If you start spreading out, it's just going to go bad. I think if we stay together, and that's what we did during the whole week. We know we're missing Josiah. He's a really big part of this team. I still think that he pretty much led the team also from the bench. His voice was incredible. He was just like another coach from the bench too. So I think I got to give him a lot of credit too for not just staying out and being interactive with all the guys. And then, yeah, like I said, I think it's the main thing is just staying together. We know how championships are in terms of you get 3 games straight, the other team does too. So we're all on the same page. But I think the whole team did a great job. People from the bench came with a lot of energy. Zakai, Jamai, Jonas, a lot of people that took part in this championship deserve a lot of things.
Is it Santiago? With your shot, kind of you came in, you had hit some big ones in this tournament already, but how did you feel offensively, coming into today and kind of what was working best for you? I mean, obviously the outside shot, but setting you up that way.
To be honest, I wasn't that much worried about it. I knew all my teammates were going to have my back, and even if I didn't take a shot, I think my teammates were going to do a great job with the ball. I trust them, trust all of them. So, yeah, I wasn't really thinking much about it.
Yep. And then Zakai, you guys held them to, I think, 32% shooting. You guys dominated the glass. I mean, other than your turnovers, it seemed like you guys were really giving them a lot of problems with defense, toughness. Kind of what was the mentality in a game like this to do what you did on the glass and defensively?
Well, our mentality coming in every game, we know that if we stop our defender and they don't score, the game's still going to be 50-50 and it's still going to be even. But we know that we can't control if we make shots or not. But our mentality pretty much was just stop the man in front of us and just stay solid on the defensive end, because offense will come. We play solid defense.
Yeah, Santiago, I was reading where you were actually discovered at a basketball workers camp and down here. Is that true?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
It was just funny coming back to the Atlantis. That's actually, I was talking to the people from the NBA Academy, and we were texting the other day, and I told them I am where it all started. And then I told him it was here in Bahamas, and that's how I got found out, and then how I got invited to the NBA Academy.
Was that in Mexico?
Yeah, the first NBA Academy was in Mexico City.
How did Kentucky? I mean,
Hmm?
How did Tennessee discover you? And was that?
He was late in the process. They started talking to me. I was going to visit one school. They told me just not make any quick decisions, just give him a chance. And then that's what I did. Visited the school. And then I came to visit Tennessee. Just fell in love with the people, fell in love with the facilities, the coaching staff, all the players, the sense of family they have here. I think it's nowhere even close to where any other place in here in the States. And yeah, I knew I was going to get better coming here every single day. So that's one of the things they told me that I still remember, that here you compete against the best players every single day, and that's when you get better the most. So
Dick, to elaborate on that, when Santi came in Christmas break, he wasn't sure if he was going to play that year or not, because he had the option to or not to. But Lamonte Turner, our leading returning player, decided that he couldn't play the rest of the year. So Santi had 2 days of practice and went out and played his very first game, a conference game against LSU. And I think he hit 5-6 threes in the game, but with 2 days practice. And then but he's totally transformed his body. I mean, but he walked into a situation that year that was where our program was in transition, and he and Josiah both coming in. A lot was put on him, and he's been just a mainstay for us.
You guys did a terrific job defensively on their perimeter, Rick. Between the job you guys did on Wilson and Dick and McCullough, it really did change the dynamics of the game.
Well, Dick, what I would tell you, these two guys, they don't have to be making shots to impact the game. When Zakai comes in and what he does. But last night, I told the guys in the locker room, I thought Santi was the player of the game with what he did. I mean, guarded a guy 6'8" last night. He guarded, and will guard anybody on the floor. Z is the same way. They're fearless. When a year ago we started the season, we like to switch, but we weren't sure we could do it with Zakai, and we played Texas Tech early in the year, and right off the bat they went at him, and first couple possessions we knew that hey, we could still switch because they just have a fight in them, and they're going to guard. And and they mentioned, I mean, I do think we're a better offensive team than we've played up to this point, but we have started to develop the kind of mentality defensively, but the mental, what we did, not just tonight in 3 days, I mean, it's physically tough. I'm not sure how many minutes these guys average, but he probably averaged close to 30 minutes, something, and the way they go at it. And when we try to run, it's not like we're walking the ball up the floor, you know, playing a tempo game. We're trying to, so they're doing it on both ends. And Santi's guarded like no other. I mean, you know, they basically try to take him out. He's very unselfish to the point that I've told him many times that you got to shoot the ball, man. You got to shoot it but he knows who he is, what he needs to do. And Zakai, again, coming off the bench, there's not a more electrifying guy that can bring what he does when he comes into the game. I mean, he's great at it. And but they both are going to just bear down and guard you.
So further, I mean, it's a class win over, but obviously you played still. What did you want to focus on?
Well, you know, Bill's always played high percentage basketball. You know, he's normally had a typical post player that he can throw it to. He likes to score around the rim, like I think older coaches like to do. But where he's changed is getting his guards, you know, getting the movement going out wide and high and trying to get you coming downhill. I thought the fact that, as Zakai just said it, we knew he had to win one-on-one matchups. We knew he had to do it. We knew he had to stay in front of the ball because they were going to put their head down and come at it. And again, and they did a good job there at the end. One, you know, we were switching and they were getting Jonas into some switches where they could get that matchup. And that's when we went back and went small again. Early in the game, we said, are we going to make them? Because we actually sized down to them, I think, more than they, because we wanted to stay big and really do a job on the glass if we could. And we did that tonight. But it's just I thought our one-on-one defense overall against a team that is as hard to guard as anybody, we did a good job with it. Who what? You know, I mean, I don't know if I look at Josiah as our quote unquote lead scorer. I mean, he played one game. And you know, we played I think we played all the exhibitions and scrimmage without him. So he played one game and he came in and he shot the ball well, but we don't know, you know, it's really day to day. And I mean, it's funny because I've never thought of Josiah as being our quote unquote leading scorer, you know, but it's day to day with him.
Yeah, Zakai, just for you, just what does it say about this team for you guys to come win 3 games there or without Josiah?
It just shows the toughness of our team that at any moment, each and every guy on the team can step up, no matter who's having a good game or a bad game, and that we all got that fight in us and that we all have each other's back. It got to moments in tonight's game that players was getting into it, and it was just sort of competitiveness and saying, hey, like, you got to stop your man. We're not letting this happen anymore. But I would say the fight in our team and just the mental toughness.
Yeah, for both Santi and Zakai, I know you guys have talked a lot about defense, but how do you, playing your 3rd game in 3 days, play defense with this much intensity for that long like you did tonight?
I think we like to play defense. That's how I would put it. And like I said earlier, we know if you can't stop the man in front of you, then you have no shot at winning the game. But if you can, you got a pretty good shot, even if you can make a shot or not. But I think we just like to play defense, and we just happen to be good at it. Thanks to him.
Zakai, what was the message at halftime when you guys had 17 turnovers? I mean, does that speak volumes about this defense that you can turn it over 17 times and still lead by 8 at the break?
I would just say that we knew the turnovers were a big problem, and that a lot of their points came off of our turnovers. And once we cut that down, and we knew when we cut it down, that it would be a whole different ball game. And I believe that showed in the second half.
The real message, great at halftime. We were here 5 years ago in the same spot against the future national champion in Villanova, and they came out and kicked our butt in the second half. We were in the same spot up, I think 12 times, something like that. And then they just came out and I said, we're going to see how far we've grown as a program. And these guys came out and sustained it. And Dick, what you said was so important. I mean, impressive. It's been 3 days of hard-nosed defensive basketball and against some physicality, different matchups. But these guys, they came here with this in mind, and I'm really happy for them because they've worked hard. They worked hard getting ready for this.
We'll let you guys get going. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Rick, they had over here, they had a guard go out early with an injury. Then they had Dewan have foul trouble, eventually fouls out. How do you feel like they handled that, and how much maybe did they change when those things happened?
You say with Dewan, we felt he was a really key player for them. We thought that he is their version of Zakai. It can really disrupt things, and we were concerned there, and we felt like we believe in ball pressure. And when we'd watched a lot of tape coming into it, a lot of teams, because of who he is, what he does. But if you let him just measure you up, he makes terrific passes and decisions. But what was the other part of that question? I don't, I'm oblivious to be honest with you, because I think Bill's like us. They've got players, but again, I think our guys were just really focused and locked in. And in terms of, again, we have great respect. I mean, obviously I've got tremendous respect for Bill, but I told our guys before the game, if you don't think he's going to have them ready to play, crazy. But the fact is, I knew it was going to be a high level physical game, and it always is every time we've ever played against them. And but our guys, again, in terms of a defensive standpoint, we were able to do what we set out to do.
Coach, I know it's still early in the season. Rankings don't matter this time. Obviously, Kansas is a number 3 team. Just tell me a bit about what this win kind of told you about your team.
What do you say about it? Well, you know what? Again, I hate it to talk about, the loss we had, because I don't ever take away from somebody that beat us. But it was a wake-up call. Whether we were the 11th ranked team in the preseason or 12th, wherever it was, this team hasn't done what last year's team did, and last year's team didn't do enough. And our players would tell you they want more than what they got a year ago. But we also, after that, we've had a great mindset, and I will tell you, I got a terrific coaching staff who, when we lost that game, they did a good job of keeping me under control, because I wanted to kill them, because I just felt like we weren't. I mean, how could we let that get away from us like that? And we really tapered for this tournament. I mean, normally, getting ready, and we haven't had any rhythm to our season in terms of, we've had a game, a week off, a game, and it's really tough to practice in November after you've been practicing for 70 some days, starting back in the summer. And when you play a game, we had a scrimmage, we had a close scrimmage, a week off, an exhibition game, a week off, and we just never got a rhythm. But these guys, they do come to work every day. They do. And I think it's a great credit to our coaching staff, but it's a great credit to them, because they do want to be good. And I like the fact that they coach each other. We talked about that last year. The best teams are coached, and I like the fact tonight they were getting on each other, because last game, before we got here, I decided that because last year's team was a team that really did coach each other. So during timeouts, while we were last home game, I left my chair open and made different guys sit there during the timeouts. Said, you guys are going to coach each other. You're going to hold each other accountable. So tonight, when they were getting at each other, I thought it was pretty good, because I want them to hold each other accountable. And so we come out of here with that. That's a good thing.
Just tell me a bit about the momentum and confidence in your team. Even before getting into conference, playing you guys up, Arizona and Maryland coming up, just heading into those games.
Well, we'll have to play. There's no doubt about it. Those are good questions, because we've always prided ourselves in playing the kind of schedule that can get us ready for our conference. And as you know, every conference is tough. And the fact is that we've always played that kind of schedule, and we certainly go to Brooklyn to play Maryland. That will be a neutral site game, but then on the road to Arizona, and I'm sure they'll be ready. I mean, they came in last year at our place, and it was one of those great games where, again, I think they were ranked 6th when they came in and ended up having a great year. But that schedule, and most of our guys have been through it. Again, Julian Phillips tonight got tired. I mean, I think the fact that him being a freshman, I mean, he's exhausted. This, I promise you, is the most tired he's ever been. And but yet he grew up in a lot of ways. I mean, what he's dealt with up to this point has been pretty impressive. Tyreek Key's going to continue to get his feet under him. I mean, this is all new for him too. He hasn't played in a year and a half until he started this year. But we do have some guys back that have been in some high level games, and certainly coming out of here, they know what that is now, the ones that have it.
Rick, I wanted to ask you about rebounding really quickly. You had 5 different guys with at least 6 boards, and you were at plus 18 on the glass. So many people talk about defense, but maybe don't talk about the fact that you got to get the rebound to end the possession and turn them away. Kind of what did you like about the way you guys performed on the boards?
Well, you can be a good defensive team, but you can't be a great one if you give them second and third shots. You can't. And so that and you said it, at the end of the possession, if you can't finish it out, it's you got to go again. And what's impressive with our guys too is that we're not a tempo team. I mean, we run the ball down the floor. We're trying to get down there within 3 seconds and start playing. And the fact that we do that, and then we come down and if we're playing defense, we're going to put teams in long possessions for the most part, and which can be really mentally drain on you. But we tell them the game starts when the shot goes up on both ends. That's when the game starts. Whether we shoot it, the game's on. If they shoot it, the game is on. And we talk about rebounding, and I've done some crazy things in my life in terms of trying to get that mentality and physicality going. But the fact is, it is a mentality, and you got to establish it. It's not easy, because once you get that mentality, every team, if you get known as a guy that comes to the glass, somebody's going to put a body on you. And then how much are you willing to go? Then when we watch it, we really grade out rebounding. I mean, that's one of our big things that we grade out, and we try to hit guys, be physical there, and then go get the ball. But rebounding it's a mentality. Some guys have it in their DNA. I was really impressed tonight when I told the guys I have KJ Adams. I said, that guy DNA, he went and got the ball. I mean, he had a couple great rebounds where his second effort was terrific, and I want to see our post guys develop that. And Olivier's got the ability to do it. I mean, he really does. Julian, I think, is learning to fight for it. But Olivier's a guy that I think can become that if he decides he wants to do it.
Rick, just what'd you see with the turnovers there in the first half, and kind of what happened to get those corrected down the stretch?
Well, again, you got to give some of that to Kansas. I mean, they were physical too. I mean, we're coming off screens, and they were riding us the way we're physical. I mean, it was a physical game, and when you come off like that, and they pressure, and we miss out on the ball, then I thought we were anxious too, but that's okay. I mean, I'd rather get at it and go at it than lay back. But I mean, tonight, I mean, they've got a good team. I'm sure, I mean, Bill's disappointed. Everybody is when you lose a game. But the fact is, they were physical, so they had something to do with it. And we were trying to get them off of us by getting downhill. You get downhill, you get into some traffic. If you're not under control, you can travel. I really, there's a lot of different things that happen where you go. Santi got himself caught in the lane, but I thought fatigue was there because we normally cut and move. We didn't. And, but the one thing I did feel like offensively, we were tired in terms of the normal cutting that we do. We weren't great in the first half with it. But the one thing that we didn't let up on was on the defensive end, which is what we talked about. And that's on me, because I said to him, hey, we'll find a way to score enough points, and if we just won't let up. And sometimes when you say that, the guys get a little loose with the ball. But again, I think you got to give Kansas some credit for that too. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us. Great tournament. Thank you.